Before we get started, I want to say thank you guys for over 1,000 subscribers. I know that, I know it was being tough on me, but I know that it's really a great dream. You have a YouTube channel and you make a great video, and almost there, you're almost halfway to the top with 1 million. So thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. But y'all may be asking me why the uploads from old Dateline videos. I'll tell you the reason. No one cares. All they want to do is all these murder stories. It's all about the murder. 48 Hours is doing murder stories. 2020 is doing the same. Dateline's doing the same. What about 60 Minutes? They're not doing it. So what's going to happen now? Well, these three are going to continue doing their thing while I'm over here watching 60 Minutes. I like it. But can we go back to news magazines the way we were? 13-minute stories, 2-parters, 3-parters, a special coverage? Like it's news. A news magazine is like news. News magazines are not about murders. That's why I call murder magazine. News magazines that are murder stories. That's why I call murder. But nobody cares. They better show it to the side and not care. I care about news magazines. I mean, the producers may come over here and say, well, if we do that, then we could lose more viewers. Of course. And I get that. But we're tired of the murder stories. Let's stick to what's going on out there. Let's stick to what's going on, like with health. What can we do? How can we eat right? What can we do to protect ourselves from these scams? Celebrity interviews, exclusive interviews, investigations. We want those things back. But in order to do that, you gotta watch 60 Minutes. It may be protected by the First Amendment. I think what the networks are doing is just trying to get everyone more views by making murder stories. A lot of murder stories for great views, so that everyone gets a taste of who's being murdered and who's not. We don't want to hear about, oh, John died, Kate killed John, John killed Kate, Joe killed Jane, Jane killed Stone, something like that. We don't want to hear it. We want to learn how to protect ourselves from scams, new investigations, what kind of car to buy, a lot of tips, etc. That's what we want to hear. Plus, Dateline has its own Peacock channel filled with, you guessed it, murder and crime. I mean, yes, we want crime like a lot of things, but what we don't need is people freaking. We want to hear about someone being killed. If we want to see someone being killed, we watch it. If we want to see someone being killed, we watch crime shows like NCIS, CSI, Castle, The Rookie, etc. That's what we want to see. But when we see news magazines about people being murdered or killed, being shot at, that leads us to believe it's not a crime show. It's what I call murder crime magazine, which it rhymes with Time magazine. So if you want to resolve this issue, get ABC, NBC on the line, and say, hey, we're sick of these murder magazines. We want to change. And if you guys say, well, some guy this and that and the other told us to do this, then Tag me in a video of you doing it, and then maybe I'll think about posting it, showing it to the audience on our next show. I mean, I love news magazines ever since. I mean, I was born when Dateline did its fifth season. While Dateline still in its fifth season, I never even heard of the show. And I can never go back to old episodes, so the way to do is just log on to Facebook, Vimeo, Dailymotion, where they have a lot of old Dateline episodes. And I have a bunch. I have like over 20 of these videos. If you guys want to see it, I'll provide a look at the right hand corner of the screen here. I'll look at the right hand corner. I have a lot of these videos. So let's bring news magazines back to the way they were, like 60 minutes. Then we go back to normal. But nothing will go back to normal. The story will tell you when we come back. New details about the Oxford shooting. This time from a person who's suing the school district for $100 million because they ignored the warning signs. We'll tell you who this person is and give you the warning signs when we come back. There's new developments tonight in the Oxford shooting. This time from a man who's suing the school district for ignoring the red flag warning signs. He's suing the school for over $100 million. His name is Jeffrey Fager. His law firm is seeking $100 million on behalf of two siblings who survived the shooting. By the way, this article is from the Detroit Free Press. I mean, weeks ago, Fager, he's an attorney. And now, this is an article. These articles. He's attacking the court with a $100 million lawsuit. He's almost 71 on behalf of two Oxford students. Riley, who was shot in the neck, and 14-year-old sister Bella, claiming school officials did not do enough to protect him. He blasted the school district's using allowing deranged homicidal student to return to class with a gun in his backpack, with over 30 rounds of ammo in his backpack, when they knew it was a homicidal threat. He successfully defended an assistant suicide with Dr. Jack Frokian and unsuccessfully run for governor. He boasts he had won more than 165 verdicts and settlements of $1 million or more. Among his lawsuits, there was one in 1999 that accused the parents of Columbine High gunmen Dylan Claiborne and Eric Harris for failing to supervise the join, arguing that the lawsuit was about duty, accountability, and responsibility. That was all about him. Going back to the lawsuit. But going back to the latest article, he's fighting a gang access to surveillance footage, other evidence from the massacre, but the prosecutor and the sheriff's office have denied the request for information. He says, and the school district is trying to block him from getting it too. So that may be the reason why he's suing the school district for $100 million. If the school says we're not going to give everyone surveillance, then don't. Follow the orders. But hacking into it, that's a federal crime. And people can press charges. But the school district is arguing that it should have to provide any information to Fager until a judge decides whether the school officials are protected by immunity. He meanwhile is taking the issue to court and is asking a judge to grant him subpoena power so you can see the evidence and build his case, which claims that school officials ignored red flags about a troubled student and failed to take the appropriate action that could have prevented the tragedy. He's also upset that a lot of what he's requesting has surfaced in the media, such as the drawing of the gun that Ethan Crumbley made in math class on the day of the shooting with the words, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." It's also upset when the 911 calls being released and details about the suspect's actions on the day of the shooting and before. And the court filing, which cites many of the new details were made public, like Crumbley kept a baby bird's head ajar on the bedroom floor. His parents knew their son was depressed and ignored his troubling texts for months. The parents knew their son was fascinated with guns, so that is his only friend had moved away in October. That it was sad and unusual and seen watching violent videos, so the parents gave him the gun. But the prosecutor, Karen McDonald, wrote, but this is what the Oakland County prosecutor, Karen McDonald, said. He was referring to the gun police believe was used in the massacre. Ethan's parents brought him the gun as the early Christmas 4 days prior to the shooting. But McDonald made disclosure of the part in an effort to keep Crumbley's parents locked up on a $500,000 bond of cash. The Crumbleys are asking for that to be lowered, which is $400. You take $500,000 minus $400,000, that's $100,000. You can win that on Wheel of Fortune. Each. Though the prosecution argues that amount is too low, that the parents are flight risk. As for the complaints from Fager, well, the Chief Assistant Prosecutor Dave Williams issued this statement to the Free Press. He said, "Pursuant to the statute, we do not provide discovery to anyone other than the defendant's lawyer during the criminal prosecution. We assume the details that Mr. Fager refers to the information contained in pleadings filed with the court in response to a motion filed by the defendants. We're committed to seeking justice for the victims in this case and remain focused on our criminal prosecution." He, meanwhile, calls the new details disclosed by prosecutor new information that warrants his need for power. He says that his office has submitted Civil Freedom of Information Act requests to various entities in the case. That the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office and Oakland County Sheriffs have sent blanket denials stating investigation records would deserve a person's right to a failed trial due to there being underlying investigations. So to give you a rundown, killed in the shootings were Hannah St. Julia, Tate Marie, Madison Baldwin, and Justin Schilling. The parents did not have the gun that was used in the shooting in public security. It was kept in an unlocked armory cabinet. Ethan Crumbley is facing first-degree murder and terrorism charges and is found not guilty, so is his parents. 3 of them are being held in Oakland County Jail, but they cannot communicate with one another. The parents have a bond hearing, which is scheduled January 7th, which is next Friday. Until next Friday, we'll find out the fate of the Crumbleys. Will they go to jail? Will they go to jail? Or will they go free with probation? We'll give you the very latest. When we return, it's New Year's week. We're going back to some of my favorite episodes from this past season, and as well as others throughout the 5 years. Stay with us. Going back to 5 years of this show, I realized I may have said some funny things. I did some funny things. There is one I remember. September 16th, 2 years ago, September 2019, I talked about vertical videos at Monopoly. This was during season 3. The show titled Vertical Videos of Monopoly. I talked about these vertical videos. I mean, black borders. This is vertical. Vertical is right here with black borders. Landscape. When you're watching these videos, you're watching it in widescreen TV, like you're watching widescreen. But YouTube videos you see is just black borders. Fill the rest of them with video. That's why if you're going to upload a video to AFP, the announcer tells you to make sure the image is wide. Make sure you're filming on widescreen. You can't be filming a vertical video. That got my attention. Also, what got my attention was the Monopoly. This was years. I talked about the game Monopoly. What was I going to do? It's a game named Monopoly. If those who don't know Monopoly, it's a board game that just goes on forever. Ruins relationships and ruins friendships. I'm quoting Watch Mojo. The game goes on forever, destroys marriages, and ruins friendships. And Dane Cook is the very truthful guy behind this Monopoly. He played the game. Like 2.5 hours, you're sitting there playing Monopoly. Playing like 2 o'clock. Start playing at 2 o'clock. And you get 2.5 hours. Like 4:30, like they're going, I quit! It's 4:30 in the morning! You win! I'm sitting on Baltic with crap! Do not touch me, she's cheating! I hate you the bank and grandma, where'd you get the big 50s? Do not touch me! Play with your girlfriend and then you're going, fuck this game! It's 4 in the morning. Same thing. You're going on a tirade. You're sitting on Baltic with crap. I'm paying lunch days out the ass. She's still in pink 50s? Jeez Louise. I also showed this viral video of this kid with a pink shirt. He had quite the mouth on him. Towards the end of the video, he flipped the... He had quite the mouth on him. He flipped the board over. If you guys want to see it, I'll have the annotation up top. Flipping tables over because of Monopoly. I'm dying over here. Sorry about that, guys. It's been 5 years since I've done this show. Never had a laughter like this. Seriously though, this show my show's not always funny, but I consider myself a funny guy. So when I do stories about funny things, I roll with it, and that is my favorite type of show. That's like one of my favorite memories. Even the first episode, I talked about playing PlayStation. I had not even the biggest laughter. And this laughter would be the very best after 5 years. Now, let's go back to this year. One of the best things I've ever introduced on this show was the breakboard. This is where when I do my topics or talk about anything that happened, draw them out with these dry erase markers. I have eight dry erase markers. With an eraser. Best money I ever spent. With this breakboard, what I can do with this breakboard is just basically draw as mints. When I'm doing my crossing the line series, I draw a line and then talk about what he's talking about when I'm crossing the line. Whether it's sex in the office, teacher-student affairs, arguing with your boss, school shootings, stuff like that. Draw a line here, stick figure. And I run within that type of show. Or sometimes I'll make a sign. Which in this case goes back to the graffiti episode. Now, I couldn't even just begin to imagine, I didn't even do the spray paint sound. You may not like the spray paint sound, but if you guys want to hear it, I'll do it for you. That was my best. That's the sound of spray paint. You may be thinking, oh, that's the sound of a fire going out. This That's the sound of a spray paint. And I've talked to you guys about graffiti. It's against the law. Without someone's approval or consent. Can't do that crap. You're going to end yourself in jail, and you're going to end up paying the price. And that price, and that's the price you don't want to pay. Especially when you're spraying stuff on people's houses. That is a line of community service right there. I tell you what. Don't ever spray graffiti. Period. Alright. Let's find out about these threats. Is any more threats going on social media? Well, let's find out. Let's go to Niagara Falls, New York, where a teen is charged with a felony on school threats social media. He's 15 years old. The threats were... Niagara Falls said the posts were made on December 13th, which was 2 weeks before Christmas. The school remained open with extra safety officers around the threat. Students at the school are subject to metal detectors and bag checks before entering the building. Okay. That was 1 day ago. Berrien County, where county schools increased to over 700% of threats. The chief of police said it's a problem for the county. Threats become many forms like social media, verbal and social media. 30 threats have been carried out, mentioning that none of those face charges as weapons to access them. Very careful with words, especially words that amount to threats. But I don't do those threats. As for the TikTok threats that happened after the shooting, well, the Habersham sheriff calls TikTok to remove threats. When TikTok said in a statement, "We've exhaustively searched the content that promotes violence in schools today, but still found nothing. But we found a video discussing this rumor and wanted to stay safe." And the sheriff, that's what the sheriff said. Now, how about this one? There was another threat from a student. This time, it was from elementary. An elementary kid decided to make a threat. It's very serious. I'm not even going to name names here. And how about an adult? His name is David Gomez, who was arrested for terroristic threats. So again, if you're going to make these threats, do not make those threats. Because if you do, you're going to be arrested and charged for terroristic threats. That is a crime that I swear if you commit, if you cross that line, you can't undo it. Even if you build a time machine, you can't undo it. That's the stuff you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life. Even if it means closing down the school or going to jail. Don't ever threaten our schools. And even ban backpacks, ban lockers. That's the thing we have to do to protect our students. Take extra safety measures. We'll be back in a moment. Tomorrow on the broadcast, it's New Year's Eve, which means it's going to be our New Year's Eve special. Counting down to the new year. We're going to start at 11:30. At 12 Eastern, 11:30 Central. As we count down to New Year, we're going to look back at our episodes from the past year, from this season. We're also going to look at some foods that you can do for New Year's Eve or day. I'm going to give you a few right now. Steak frites bites, baked feta bites, and stuffed mushrooms, just to name 3. We're also going to tell you about the traditional New Year's Eve meal and what can you serve New Year's Eve. I may get you hungry. That's what I tend to do. But we're also going to look back at our memories as we have a half hour of a New Year's Eve party. Get out the party hats. Get out the party hats and watch both the New Year's Eve celebration and this show while you're watching, because I'm going to provide the party. And I'll do a live broadcast while I'm doing the show. So look for that. With that being said, that's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Wednesday. We'll see you again for a special Give Me a Break Friday at 12 Eastern, 11:30 Central. Have a good night, everyone. For all of us here at YouTube, take care of yourself and each other. And remember, stop bullying, speak up. Good night.